Hello folks. You may recall I came on a couple weeks ago for a live show that I called the Shelter in Place special or something like that. And during that show I was talking about the windscreens that I had made for my Canon XA10 and talking about the fake fur, and I thought I had posted that video to this channel, but it turns out that it was only on channel 2. So a couple things, if you don't remember or if you don't know, I have a second TSG Multimedia channel called TSG Channel 2. And on that one I put a bunch of stuff that's not train related. But since I mentioned the windscreens on the live show, I wanted to share that with you here. So I've taken it and downloaded it from channel 2 and I am re-uploading it onto this video. So I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it helps you, because a lot of videos I've seen that don't have windscreens over the microphones get a lot of wind noise that ruins the audio, and this could solve that problem as long as you're not out in tornadoes or hurricanes or something like that. So anyway, enjoy and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Hello, this is John, and today I'm going to show you how to add a windscreen to your camcorder. The camcorder I'm working on is a Canon XA10, and I'm preparing for a shoot this weekend where I'll be taking a lot of video footage outside. Now, I don't know how windy it's going to be, so I've decided that I want to add windscreens over the internal microphones of this camera. And to do this, I'm going to need some double-sided foam tape, some phony fur, and a very sharp knife. I'm going to be using some other regular household items in this process too, but these are the specialty things that you may not have, that you might need to go out and get to be prepared for this project. So let's get started. The Canon XA10 has a removable handle here, and the reason I'm going to remove it is because the microphones are kind of underneath here. See how this block up here that gives you your XLR inputs is kind of in the way. So I'm going to take the handle off carefully. There are these screws, one to either side of the handle. And of course the shoe mount also has an attachment there. But if you're careful, you can take this off, and now the microphones are completely exposed. Might as well get the... Okay. My plan is to put a piece of double-sided tape around each microphone and then cut out the fur pieces to stick on the tape. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is put a piece of painter's tape over each microphone. This might seem a little strange, but it'll make sense when I show you what I'm doing with the painter's tape. I'm going to push the painter's tape down with my fingernails to get the outline transferred into the surface of the tape here. And then I'm going to go with my pencil. This way I'll have a nice clear outline of each microphone. Because you can see they're not just rectangles. There's actually a little cutout right here to accommodate the space for the shoe. This paper that I've taped down on the cutting board is a mailing label with the non-sticky side up. And I'm going to put my traced out microphone impressions on it, and then I'm going to carefully cut around with the sharp knife. I'm going to carefully cut around the outline of this so that the double-sided foam tape will have that inside hole that goes around the opening of the microphone. And by the way, I am pushing hard so that I cut the tape as well as the painter's tape. I'm cutting through the double-sided foam tape as well.
so that when I lift all this off, the hole will be in the foam tape as well.
Okay, so if you look very carefully, you can see I have the outlines of the microphones there. So the next step is I'm going to pick this up off of the cutting board, and I'm going to use some scissors to go around these outlines about probably 1/8 of an inch or so, maybe a little more than 1/8 of an inch. That way I'll have what amounts to sort of hollowed out versions of this same thing with a slightly larger outline cut around it. And the idea then is those pieces will then fit over the microphones, and the holes will be where the microphones are. I'm making it smaller so that I can manipulate it easier with my hands. But let's see what I mean here. Something like that. The idea is to have an outline around a hole. That way the fur has something to stick to when you put it on. What I have here is something called a wind cutter. And wind cutter was actually a brand name of a company that made these. And I bought this when I was using my Canon XL1 for filming trains back in the, I think it was between 2005 and 2010, that time frame. And I don't have a microphone that they'll fit on anymore. So I figured, and you can go down to your fabric store and buy some faux fur, but I have this here and I'm not really using it anyway. So I figured I'd use it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it inside out so that I have access to this cutting side is what I'm going to call this, because if you cut it from the other side, you're going to be cutting a lot of the fur off, and the fur is what breaks the wind.
Alright, so I put something as solid as I can behind it,
and something really important to mention here is that I'm not cutting the hole out. That would totally negate the purpose of what we're doing. I want this hole to be covered with fur. The only reason why it's cut out on the double-sided tape is so that it doesn't cover up the microphone. Because it would be a lot easier to just cover up the whole microphone with foam tape and then stick a piece of fur on top of it. But it would negate the purpose, because then you'd have the microphone covered up by your tape, and that's not what you want. You want it surrounded by tape and then covered by fur. If your Halloween costume shops are open, or if you have access to inexpensive costume disguise mustaches or beards, you could use that material too, because it's essentially the same thing. So I'm going to carefully place this foam over this microphone and make sure that it's not interfering with the opening here. Should be fine. I'm also making sure that it doesn't interfere with the focus ring. And then same on this side. So something like this should work. Doing the same over here. And you can see this isn't perfect, but it does leave most of the microphone exposed, so that when I put the fur over it like this, the only thing that's gonna be going through this is the sound. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna face the fur so that it's facing toward the front of the camera. That's where the noise from the wind is most likely to enter from. Noise that we're trying to prevent. Okay. And there's what it looks like from the front. I made a little face for it. Happy. Now, I don't know if this is hair or eyebrows, but
I do know when I was at a restaurant one time, I had I had the camera up on the table like that, and the waitress made a joke about it having a mustache or something like that, which was pretty funny. She got a good tip because she had a sense of humor. Now that I got my windscreen on, I can reassemble everything. Tighten it all back down, and this camera is now ready for action. And these windscreens will probably give you some pretty good noise protection, probably up to about 20 miles an hour, maybe 30 miles an hour of wind. So the point though is that it's a lot better than not having them at all. The total cost for this project, for me in this case, was $0 because I had all the materials on hand. But you can buy a roll of double-sided foam tape for less than $5. And if you use my idea of using a costume, mustache, or beard, you can get those at your costume stores, especially right after Halloween, probably for under $5 or $10 as well. So the total cost is easily under $10 if you get everything on sale. If you find my content interesting or helpful or entertaining in any way, please consider subscribing and hitting the thumbs up button. If you think there are other people you know that would benefit from this information, please share it on your social media channels as well. Thanks for watching and make it a great day.